Hello and welcome to another episode of Geography Made Easy. And in today's video, we will try to make and discuss your paper, geography paper of the new education policy which has been adopted by Calcutta University as the CCF, the course which is important for this semester, new semester. We'll try and discuss that and try and make it easy. So I'm talking about the CC course, which is for the major as well as the minor candidates. And this name of the course is Physical Geography, which is of 75 marks. And I'll be today talking about the theoretical aspect of this particular paper. So first I will discuss about the question pattern of this particular paper. So this particular paper is of total 75 marks and the exam will be held in 3 hours. So you have to write a 75 marks, you have to answer the paper and you will be getting 3 hours. There are 3 types of questions which will be asked in this particular paper, and these are 2-mark questions which will be of length of 50 words each for each of the questions. So they are the short definition based questions. Then we have the 5-mark questions, which are brief explanations, which are you need to have, like you have differences and these kind of questions, which are of roughly 125 words. And you have the 15-mark or the broad and descriptive or analytical questions, which will be each of 500 words. So by looking at the word limit, CU or Calcutta University expects us to write quite a lot. So how many questions are going to come and how many do we have to attempt? So for the 15 marks or the broad category, we will be given 5 questions out of which we have to answer 3. So 3 out of 5. In case of the 5-mark questions, we will be given a total of 7 questions out of which we have to answer 5, any 5. So you'll be given 7 questions and you have to answer 5. And in case of the 2-mark questions, you will be given 14 questions out of which you have to answer 10. Now, since the syllabus for the question for the paper is same for both the honors as well as the general, that is the major and the minor, the question pattern, the difficulty level will be different for the the two separate sets. So we will be having 2 examinations actually, one for the honors and one for the general or for minor. So one will be the one question paper for major will not be exactly the question paper which is expected for minor. That is what we have been instructed by the university, and we are still waiting for the examination. And once the examination is over, we are going to get better understanding about the pattern of questions in this case. I will still briefly try and discuss a little bit about what can be expected in case of the honors as well as the general, that is the major and the minor. I'm using the wrong terms. So in case of major as well as the minor. So in total there are 8 units and there are 10 topics. And the topics are very vastly spread over a large part of physical geography. So the honors or the major students are expected to be more detailed. They need to be doing more detailed study for the particular topic. In case of minor, it will be a little easy. So the first topic in this case or unit 1 is about cartography, and we have concept and application of scales and projections, components and classification of maps. Now for this particular topic, I think it's very specific. This is a particular topic from cartography. So for concept and application of scales, I think for both major and minor, one needs to know like the types of scales, the different ways or the different classifications of scale, how scale can be drawn. I think the major students here need to be even able to do small conversion sums or small sums related to scales for the 2 mark. They can expect this because these kinds of questions have previously come even for the general exams, GE exams, in case of the CBCS, as well as even for the 1+1+1 previously. So you can expect that. And we have components and classification of maps. Of course, yeah, we have projections. So again, projections, the different terminologies, the details of the different kinds of projections, these have to be done in a great amount of details for the major students. In case of the minor students, they need to know the classification of projections, they need to know the major terms of projections, which are very important because they have to be able to answer anything which comes within that. So the basics of projections and scales need to be thorough in this particular unit. Then we have components and classification of map. This is a very straightforward topic, and I think the classification of maps and the different components of what makes a map is very is given in certain books very well, and you can refer to this for major and minor. It can be the same material. Next, we have geotectonics, and there's only one topic here, internal structure of the earth with special reference to seismic waves. So we have done internal structure of the earth in +2 as well, so you can refer to that from your internal structure of the earth. For minor students, I think that is something they have to look at with the different layers and the names of the layers, with the names of the unconformities, and they have to know what is a P wave, S wave, L wave. How does it help us to determine that the earth is structured, the layers inside the earth. We have to be able to answer them. In case of major students, I think they have to go into the details of seismicity here, how seismic waves are measured, how earthquakes occur, how are the seismic waves determining the layered part of the earth. So seismicity, usually this is separately there as a chapter in certain geotectonics and geomorphology books. I think this needs to be dealt with in details for the major students. Next, we have unit 3, which is geomorphology, and we have the classification of weathering and agents of erosion. In this case, for the minor students, they need to understand about the different types of weathering processes and how they are classified, and the products or the components or the landscapes which are a result of weathering. The same applies for the major students as well, with more details as to like deep weathering, weathering front. This has to be done in more details. And chemical weathering, I think students should be able to answer chemical, biological weathering in more details if they are coming for the major course. Agents of erosion, for the minor students, if they know what is erosion and what are the different types of erosional agents and how these erosional agents work, I think that should be enough with brief examples. For major students, I think they need to understand the processes in details with detailed examples when they are looking at agents of erosion, and also include mass wasting. For minor students, they can just include mass wasting, about they should just know what is mass wasting. But for major students, I think they need to little bit look into mass wasting also, and also the processes in details. Next, we have fluvial processes and landforms. For minor students, please look at the landforms in details. Look at the way in which the river channel is divided into the 3 stages or the 3 courses, and look at each landform in details, because that is the amount of detailing they expect. And you have to understand how rivers do erosion. For major students, I think the different landforms need to be dealt with in more details. Go into the details of, say for example, how a delta is formed, or how an alluvial fan is formed, like in details about the process as well as the erosional process, and look into the details and understandings of the landform creation when we are looking at a youthful river or when we are looking at a old river, or the three stages of the river. So that needs, the hydrology part also needs to be dealt with when major students are particularly studying this chapter. Next, we have climatology. The first topic is very straightforward, I think, for both major and minor: nature, composition, and layering of the atmosphere. This was previously also there in the CBCS. So, the composition of the atmosphere, its nature, and the layering of the atmosphere in respect to temperature and pressure is very, very important. I think this particular chapter for the major and the minor students, it remains the same. Next, we have circulation in the atmosphere, in which we have planetary winds, jet streams, and index cycle. So, in planetary winds, I think for students who are doing minor, they can just understand about the different types of winds, like trade winds, what are they called, the names of the winds, and a little bit about how the wind, like what are the process by which wind flows. This they can know. They need to just know about the concept of jet stream, which is important, and jet stream is very much related to index cycle. For major students, they have to, in this case, I think, do the general circulation model, because that is followed by the wind systems, and I think this particular topic will later help them in their climatology paper. So major ways in which wind flows, the general circulation model in brief, and of course jet streams in details, and index cycle is included in details. They have to do the models, they need to do the theories, because this is a chapter from where I think 5 marks and 10 marks can come from this particular unit. Next, we have soil geography, factors of soil formation. Again, this is a topic which is same for, I think, will be same for both the major and the minor students. And in this case, like, we have Jenny's equation, and from there the derivation of the different factors. Please do this in details, and I think this with the diagrams, this for the minor and the major, it will be the same. Evolution of an ideal soil profile. So how a soil profile is formed, the different layers of a soil profile, and what are the processes involved. For minor students, they can just look at the soil profile, the diagram, and just briefly the processes. For major students, I think they need to go into a little bit of details of, say, how organic matter is formed in case of soil profile, how is it affecting the soil profile, which are the like calcification, or there are these other features like fertilization, salinization. I think these processes in case of the major students become very important. They can come as 2 or 5 mark questions. And next, we have unit 6, where we have biogeography, which is again a very direct one. Topic has been given: plant adaptation and distribution in relationship to water availability. So we have the classification like xerophyte and the other different types of plants, which this plant adaptation in relationship to water, this will be a very straightforward one question, I think, which can be asked in a 10 mark actually. I'll go into that in details. And finally, we have geography of hazards. Again, this is a easy topic, and they have just one topic here: nature and classification of hazards and disasters in Indian context. For both the major and the minor students, I think you just need to look into the details of what are hazards, how are they different from disasters, and in the Indian context, if we have the map of India, which area is what kind of hazard or disaster prone. I think this gives me a very broad idea, and I think this is something which the major and the minor students should be able to read and do. Now let me say that this is the first time that exam is going to happen, so ideas about what should be the type of questions which can come is something also new, and the teachers are exploring this. But still, I try to just I think just say from previous year examination experiences what might come as a 10 or a 5 or a 2 mark in this case. So for scales and projection, I think 10 marks and 2 marks can come, and maybe merits, demerits can come as a 5 mark, but I think not. Components and classification of map is very important as a 10 mark, and I think again definitions from the entire paper can come as 2 marks anywhere. Seismic wave and internal structure of the earth, I feel this is a very like a 10 mark question. Or what is P waves, S waves can come as 2 marks. I don't think 5 marks is very something from where it will come. Classification of weathering and agents of erosion, this is from where you can either get a 10 or a 5 or a 2 mark. And also in case of fluvial processes and landforms, definitely 10 marks is important with the landforms of erosion and deposition. Please do that properly. And also you can get like delta formation and its understanding as a 5 mark, or alluvial fan as a 5 mark. So yes, that can come. But difference between two types of processes in the 5 marks. Nature, composition and layering of the atmosphere is a very direct 10 mark question which usually comes. So I think from there we can expect a 10 mark, and 2 marks again, like we can have what is inert gas, these kind of questions, but that is a very direct 10 mark. Index cycle can come as a 5 mark, jet streams can come as a 10 mark, or concepts can come as a 2 mark. Planetary wind systems can come with the general circulation model. If you have to look at that, the understanding can come as a 10 mark. Factors of soil formation important as a 10 mark and 5 marks. So they can give you the entire thing as a 10 mark, or they can break it up, like they can tell you how does climate impact soil formation as 5 marks. And evolution of an ideal soil profile is an important question for 5 marks. And again, you can get small definition based questions from 2 marks from these topics as well. Plant adaptation and distribution, I think 10 mark. And I think they can also ask you difference between two halophyte and xerophyte in case of a 5 mark question, something like that. So yeah. And finally we have classification of hazards and disasters directly. This is a very much 10 mark question, but again, we never know. But I think there's no scope to leave out any part of the syllabus and do selective studies in this case, because the syllabus is new, and because we don't really know what is going to be asked, and all the topics are very important and basic. So if you are looking at each topic, because they are not very detailed, they are one topic and in one go you can get it done. It's not difficult, it's easy. And if you have followed classes, I think you will not have problems dealing with these topics. So if you have any questions and queries regarding what I have discussed, please leave below a comment. And if you want me to do such videos about like question paper discussions which I have been doing, please let me know that, and I will try and like analyze what kind of questions might come. And you can always look at the Calcutta University syllabus, and they have given you the references. So these books have these topics very well given, so you can look at them, you can look at your books, you can go to the library and pick up these books. And I will definitely say that do not leave out any particular topic for this exam, because we really don't know what is going to come. So all the best for your examination, and I hope to see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.